entire ballroom went silent, not because the music stopped, not because someone fell, but because someone did the impossible. In the center of the grand hall, under the glittering crystal lights, Miss Victoria, the billionaire's glamorous fiancée, pointed a finger sharply at a trembling waiter, ready to fire him like she always did. Everyone froze. The caterers, the servers, the security guards by the entrance. Even the event coordinator stopped moving for a moment. They all knew what was coming. Victoria always destroyed someone's life when she was upset. And tonight, she was very upset. But something unexpected happened. A voice cut through the silence. Not loudly, not rudely, but firmly, like a gentle river that refuses to change its course. It was the new event assistant, Inozi, a humble girl. A girl who started only 3 days ago. A girl nobody expected to even raise her head, talk less of speaking against the billionaire's fiancé in front of 200 wealthy guests. But here she was, speaking calmly, refusing to stay quiet. Every guest turned to stare. What did you just say? Victoria hissed, shocked and shaking with anger. But Angie didn't back down. Her posture stayed steady. Her eyes stayed respectful, but strong. And then, unknown to everyone, the billionaire himself, Mr. Amika Okafor, stood just outside the balcony, stepping back inside from taking a phone call. He stopped walking. He heard the tension. He turned his head slowly. Then, saw Italiano, his fiancée, trying to humiliate a worker and a young woman standing in her way. Amika didn't move. He didn't speak. He just watched, his heart beating faster because something inside him finally questioned everything. And the next words Victoria shouted shook the entire event. "You're fired. Pack your things." No. Butko's voice did not waver. "Ma, please, let me explain what really happened." That moment, that single moment, would change everything. And then a loud gasp echoed through the ballroom because something even more shocking happened next. Victoria tried to walk away, but the waiter she was about to fire suddenly dropped to his knees. His voice cracked. "Please, Ma, please, don't do this. My daughter is in the hospital. I need this job." His tears fell openly. Everyone stared at the broken man in disbelief, and from the balcony entrance, Amice whispered to himself, "What kind of woman have I been planning to marry?" And just as he stepped forward, someone else walked toward him from behind. Someone who wasn't supposed to be at this event. But before we get to who it was, we must go back to the very beginning because everything that happened in that ballroom started long before this moment. Long before Ningoy ever stepped into the Okafor estate. The story began 4 weeks earlier. Everyone in Abuja knew about Amiya Okafor, the young billionaire who owned Okafor luxury hotels. People admired him because he was generous, respectful, and always supported local businesses. But not many people admired his fiancée, Victoria Adabia. She was stunning. She was educated. She was influential. But she was also ruthless. Very, very ruthless. At the estate and in all his businesses, Victoria acted like she owned everything, even though nothing there belonged to her. She insulted workers, threatened them, and fired them whenever she felt like it. And because they all needed the income, none of them dared to complain, but never witnessed her true behavior. Whenever he was around, Victoria smiled, acted charming, and pretended to be compassionate. She fooled everyone on social media, but not the people who worked under her shadow. They saw everything, the cruelty, the threats, the evil manipulations. Still, they endured it because they were earning enough to support their families. Then, one Wednesday morning, the head of events gathered the staff. "We have a new assistant joining us today," she said. "Please help her learn quickly." The workers looked at each other. Another assistant. She won't survive. Victoria will destroy her like the others. But when the new assistant entered, they were surprised. She was calm, soft-spoken, respectful. And something about her presence felt different, even though she wasn't trying to stand out. Her name was Ngoy Nankwa, and she came from a small town to work and send money home for her younger siblings' school fees. Everyone liked her immediately, but they also whispered warnings to her. Stay away from Miss Victoria's path. Don't disagree when she's angry. If she wants to blame you, Just accept Italiano. Goy only nodded politely, but deep inside her, she knew she wouldn't allow anyone to crush her dignity. Still, she stayed quiet. She worked diligently. She avoided conflict until the fourth day when everything changed. It started with something small. Victoria misplaced her designer handbag and began accusing everyone. Who touched my things? Who? Workers scattered like frightened birds. She stormed into the event hall, screaming at the staff. She shoved one. She threw a glass near another. She cursed everyone. Incompetent fools. All of you. Then her eyes landed on Nose. You new girl, come here. And Goy stepped forward slowly. Did you see my bag? Victoria shouted in her face. No, ma. And Goy said softly. Victoria's face twisted in fury. You dare answer me so casually? Before anyone could react, Victoria raised her hand to slap her. Everyone looked away, too scared to watch. But when the slap came down, it didn't land because Eno's hand shot up and caught it. Gentle, but unshaking. That was the moment the entire estate froze. As Victoria struggled to free her wrist, shocked and embarrassed, something happened behind them all. The person who appeared beside Ame, the one who witnessed everything, said loudly, "So this is the woman you chose." Everyone turned. Victoria's face went pale. Amicha's heart stopped because the voice belonged to someone who had the power to change everything, and that person was the last person Victoria ever wanted to see. The room froze. Victoria's hand was still caught inside in Goet's gentle but firm grip, and her eyes widened as she turned toward the doorway, standing beside a chair with a cane in hand, eyes sharp and wise. Was Uma Chinia, the woman who raised Amisha after his mother passed away. People said Mama Chinier was the only person whose opinion Emaha truly valued, not because she was harsh, no, but because Mama Chinier always spoke truth wrapped in love, even when it hurt. Mama? Victoria stuttered, her voice suddenly soft, but Mama Chinia didn't smile. She didn't blink, she just looked at Victoria. Tenat Naxi then back at Victoria again. So this is who you have become, Mama Chinari said quietly. Her voice was gentle, but it felt like thunder rolling across the land. The workers bowed their heads respectfully. Even Emma looked surprised. Victoria finally yanked her hand free and stepped back, trying to regain her composure. This girl grabbed me first, she shouted, pointing at Gozi. The Mama Chinari shook her head slowly. I saw everything, she said. And so did he. She tilted her head toward Amicia. Victoria's heart dropped like a stone in deep water. Amicia's eyes were distant, more distant than anyone had ever seen. But he didn't speak yet. He simply stood there looking at the woman he thought he would marry, the woman he thought he knew. You told me you respected people, Mama Chinier said. You told me you were ready to be a wife. Victoria swallowed hard. I am, she said quickly. Mama, you know I'm improving. But Mama Chinier lifted a wrinkled hand to silence her. Improving by slapping workers, by cursing everyone, by embarrassing yourself in front of your future husband. The workers lowered their eyes again. Some felt pity for Victoria. Others felt she finally deserved this reckoning. Nosy quietly stepped away, hands folded, eyes respectful. She didn't want drama. She only wanted fairness. But Victoria wasn't done. She pointed at Nosy again. This girl disrespected me. Why is everyone defending her? She's just an assistant. That statement made the air shift. Slowly, Emma's eyes lifted. His voice was soft, but heavy. No one in this estate is just anything. Victoria looked at him, stunned. But he wasn't finished. Everyone here has a family. Everyone here has dreams. Everyone here works honestly, and every one of them deserves respect. Victoria blinked fast, searching for words, but before she could speak, a phone rang loud and sharp. It was Victoria's phone on the table nearby. The screen lit up. The caller ID read unknown number. Victoria rushed to grab it, but Mama Chinier was faster. She picked it up calmly. Hello, she said. A deep male voice came through the speaker loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Is this Victoria? Mama Chinier frowned. Whoa, Isaskin. The voice paused, then said coldly, "Tell her that justice has finally found her." The line went dead. Everyone froze. Victoria's face turned white as chalk. Amia stepped closer. "Victoria, who was that?" Victoria shook her head fast. "Nobody. Just a prank call." But her trembling hands told a different story. Mama Chinier handed her the phone slowly. "Victoria, what are you hiding?" Victoria's lips quivered. "Nothing, Mama. I swear, nothing." But then her own phone buzzed again. A text message appeared on the screen, and this time, everyone standing close enough could see it. The message read, "You thought you could run to Abuja and forget what you did in Port Harcourt, Iame now. We will meet soon." Victoria gasped and dropped the phone. It clattered onto the marble floor. The workers whispered nervously. Goy felt a chill run down her spine, picked up the phone and read the message fully. His face grew dark. "Victoria," he said slowly. "What happened in Port Harcourt?" Victoria covered her mouth with shaking hands. "Mika, please. Not here. Not now. Please, don't ask." But he stepped closer. "Tell me now." Victoria shook her head. "I can't." Mama Chinia's voice came gently but firmly. "Child, whatever you are hiding will only grow heavier. Speak the truth." Victoria burst into tears. "If I tell you, you'll leave me," she sobbed. Mecca's jaw tightened. "If you don't tell me, I'll leave you anyway." The workers held their breath, and Goy felt her heart race. Mama Chinier folded her arms, waiting. Victoria wiped her tears and finally spoke, her voice cracking. 3 years ago, before I met you, I worked at a hotel in Port Harcourt." Amicia frowned, and Victoria swallowed hard. "There was a man there, a manager. He trusted me with company funds." The room grew colder and pressed. Victoria's voice dropped to a whisper. "I stole from him. I took 10 million naira and disappeared." Gasps filled the room. Amika's eyes widened in shock. "You what?" Victoria fell to her knees. "I was desperate. I needed money. I thought I could get away with it." Mama Chinia closed her eyes in disappointment. "And the man?" she asked. Victoria sobbed harder. "He lost his job because of me. His family suffered. And now he's found me." Mecca stepped back, his world spinning. "You lied to me," he whispered. "You told me you built your career honestly." Victoria crowed. Who owed him? "Ama, please. I was going to pay him back. I swear I was." But Ama shook his head. "When?" "After we got married, after you had access to everything I own." Victoria froze. The truth hit her like a slap. She had been planning to secure her future first before fixing her past, and now everyone knew it. Suddenly, the main doors burst open. A tall man in a faded suit walked in, his face hard and aged by pain. Security tried to stop him, but he pushed through. "Where is she?" he shouted. "Where is Victoria Adabio?" Victoria screamed, No, please." The man's eyes locked on her. "So, you do remember me?" Amika stepped between them. "Who are you?" The man's voice trembled with emotion. "My name is Mr. Chukwe Obi, and she destroyed my life." The workers gasped. Mama Chaineri placed a hand on Emma's shoulder. Mr. Chukwudi continued, his eyes filling with tears. "I trusted her. I gave her responsibility and she stole everything. Because of her, I was fired. My wife left me. My children dropped out of school." Victoria sobbed uncontrollably. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." But Mr. Chukwudi shook his head. "Sorry doesn't bring back 3 years of suffering." Amia looked at Victoria, then at Mr. Chukwi. His voice was calm but heavy. "How much did she take from you?" Mr. Chukwidi's voice cracked. 10 million naira. Makia nodded slowly, then he turned to Victoria. "Did you spend it all?" Victoria shook her head. "No. I still have some." Amy's eyes hardened. "How much?" Victoria whispered. 4,000 in the room waited. Amiya took a deep breath. Then he said something that shocked everyone. I will pay him the full amount. Victoria gasped. But Emma raised a hand to stop her. Not for you, he said coldly. For him, because he deserves justice. Mr. Chuckwoody's eyes filled with fresh tears. Sir, I don't know what to say. Akka placed a hand on his shoulder. You don't have to say anything. Just take the money and rebuild your life. Mr. Chukwudi broke down and cried. The workers wiped their eyes. Eva felt tears roll down her cheeks. But then Amiya turned to Victoria and his next words were final. Victoria, I am ending this engagement. Victoria let out a heartbreaking scream. No, Amiya, please. Amiya shook his head. You lied to me, you hurt an innocent man. You treated my workers like trash. I cannot marry someone like that. Victoria grabbed his legs, sobbing. Please, I'll change. I promise, I'll change. But Amiya gently removed her hands. You should have changed before you hurt people. Mama Chinia stepped forward and knelt beside Victoria. Child, she said softly, change is still possible, but first you must face what you have done. Victoria nodded through her tears. Primera, hun herstand. Emma called his lawyer immediately. Within the hour, Victoria signed documents agreeing to pay back the remaining 6 million naira in installments. Mr. Chuckwoody thanked Amika repeatedly, his dignity finally restored. And as Victoria was escorted out of the estate, she looked back at Amika one last time. I really did love you, she whispered with broken lips. Amma nodded sadly. A heavy silence filled the ballroom. Mama. Shanir sighed deeply. You did the right thing, my son. Amiya gave a tired smile. I only did what was just. Then his eyes drifted toward a nosy. The girl who had unknowingly sparked everything. The girl who stood firm when everyone else trembled in fear. The girl who caught Victoria's hand not to fight but to stop the cruelty. He walked toward her. Noi, he said softly, you changed everything today. And Goy shook her head. No, sir. I only did what felt right. Ema smiled warmly. That, he said, is why you made a difference. The workers nodded in agreement. Some even clapped softly. For the first time in a very long time, the estate felt peaceful. There was relief. There was justice. There was hope. Over the next few days, Mr. Chukwe used the money to restart his life. He reunited with his children and found a new job. Victoria began attending counseling and started her journey toward genuine change. Mama Chinia prayed for everyone involved. And Acha. Amicia stood on the estate balcony one evening, breathing in the cool air. He felt free. He felt wiser and he felt grateful. When Inosi walked past, carrying event supplies, he stopped her gently. You know, he said, you remind me of something my late mother used to say. And Goy blinked. What, sir? Ika smiled softly. She always said, a good person is not the one who has power, but the one who uses their voice to protect those who have none. Ngoy blushed and looked down shyly. AA continued, you helped me see the truth today, and because of you, justice was served. The wind blew gently across the estate. The evening felt calm, and as the sun set, Amici said one final line. A line that ended everything beautifully. Thank you, Nosi. You made a difference just by being brave. Nose Gozi smiled a soft, honest smile. And for the first time, everything ended well. Everything ended with truth. Everything ended with justice. Everything ended with peace. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories.